Hello, welcome to a lecture about input and output. I'll be going over input, output, escape sequences, and what their applicability is in Java programs. So let's take a look at input first. First of all, I'd like to let you know that this is not part of the AP Computer Science Java subset. So this is not going to be tested at all on your AP Computer Science test, but this is a very important part of Java, and I think that even if it's not tested on the test, you should definitely learn about it because you always want human and user interaction within your program, and that's something that's essential and something that the AP Computer Science test does not go over. So let's refresh our memories about the Java class libraries or Java APIs. And we'll be using one of those Java APIs to get input. So this will be our first application of them. And we'll be using the java.util package to get it. So we need the scanner class, which is part of the java.util package. And similarly, so what we would do is, in a program, we would go import java.util.scanner semicolon, and then we'd be able to use the methods in this class. So we need to import it again because it's part of the Java class libraries and it's not built in. And as with any class, it contains many methods, and some of these methods include like nextInt, which means that it reads the next integer that's the user has typed in, and similarly it can read different things. That's one of the methods that we'll be using primarily, but it has many other methods, and if you search up Java class libraries or Java APIs, you can read about the various classes that are available and what the methods are available as well. So this seems kind of ambiguous and complicated, but don't worry, we'll be looking at some programs later in the course where you can get a real-world application. So now let's look at output. Unlike input, output is actually part of the APCS Java subset, so this will be tested on your exam. And unlike input, there are a lot of differences between the two. Unlike input, you get your output capabilities from the standard output object, which is a different topic in of itself, so just remember that, and you do not need to import it, it's built in. And the two functions that the APCS tests and the main functions actually of the standard output object are the system.out.println and the system.out.print. So these are the two main methods, and these are the ones that we're going to be focusing on. So now, tracking back to the Hello World program, if you remember, we used the system.out.println method, and within those parentheses we had a string, hello world, and that's what was printed out. So that's the function, that's what it does. It just prints out something in the console, which is exactly what we saw in the Hello World program. Now, this brings up an important topic about println versus the print method. They're both methods, as you can tell because of their parentheses, but there are some differences, and they're not significant differences, but there are differences. So the println prints on a new line, starts printing on a new line, while the print method prints on the same line. So sometimes you may just use the print method and it may cause your output to be all jumbled up because it's all on one line. So that's why the println method is there, to continue your printing on a new line. And these are both part of the same standard output object, and what's in between these parentheses is known as an argument. So the string or the variable or anything that needs to be printed out that's within these parentheses is called an argument. So an argument is whatever a method takes in and evaluates, and this can be a variable or a string or anything that you would like to get printed out. So this also brings up another topic as we talk about output, escape sequences. So an escape sequence is a combination of a backslash and a character. An example would be system.out.print parentheses quotes I\n love space Java quotation marks parentheses, and look, I forgot a semicolon, so that's another important thing, but the output will come up as I, and then on a new line, love Java. So that \n made that love Java continue printing on a new line. And this is just an example of an escape sequence. There are multiple other options as well. So let's take a look at those options now. So the first option that I show you a demonstration of is \n, and this continues the printing on a new line. So from wherever the \n appears, everything after that will continue printing on a new line. And now that we have backslashes being used as part of escape sequences, it can be confusing for the computer to know when you actually want to print a backslash. So if you put 2 backslashes, that will print 1 backslash. Because the backslash is used for escape sequences like \n, etc., it's important to put 2 backslashes to indicate you actually want to print out a backslash. And in addition, as we know that when we are printing out, we often print out strings that are enclosed by double quotes. What if you actually wanted to print out a double quote? That's where the escape sequence \quote comes in. By putting the \quote, the computer will actually print a quote in the console. And the \t is used to continue printing 1 tab to the right. So if you put a \t, it'll move the printer one tab down to the right, and it'll continue printing from there. So the \n, the \\, and the double quote are all part of the APCS Java subset, so they will be tested. The \t is not part of it, but I feel that it's another essential escape sequence. We'll be looking at some programs where we'll be applying this later. So now this brings up a very important topic, and that is, where is input and output used? So as we know that computers are often interacting with us, almost every program has some human interaction involved, and we often need to display things or input things. We'll be showing you an example addition program later in the course where you'll be taking user input, adding the numbers together, and outputting the sum. So you often need to get user input to make them feel involved, and that's a big part of programs, and you often need to display information for the user. So both input and output are critical parts. Input is obviously optional for the APCS test, but it's something that we'll be using actively in this course. And output is part of the APCS test, and it's something that includes escape sequences that we can use to make to print out different patterns. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.